Let's kick off today's episode by me asking you something. Have you ever felt exhausted from working all day, but at the same time wondered why your business still feels stuck? Your calendar is full, you're busy, you're doing all the things, and yet the real needle moving work keeps getting pushed to tomorrow. The outreach, the visibility, the launch, the uncomfortable conversations. I remember a season in my own business where my calendar was packed, coaching calls, admin work, planning, content. I was constantly busy. But if I was honest, I was avoiding the work that required me to be seen. I wasn't afraid of failing. I was afraid of what would happen if it actually worked. So today I'm talking about fear of success, self-sabotage disguised as busyness, and how this pattern quietly blocks growth, fulfillment, and leadership. Welcome to your Dream Coach podcast. I'm Shayla Wey. I'm a small business coach, leadership mentor, wife, mom, and someone deeply passionate about helping entrepreneurs build businesses and lives they actually love. Around here, we talk about leadership, fulfillment, and growth. Because building a successful business should expand your life, not consume it. And today's topic is one I see constantly with high performers and business owners. And it may explain why you feel stuck even when you're working incredibly hard. The fear of success is real. And I remember hearing this and learning this and not really believing it. But here's what I found is that most entrepreneurs believe they're afraid of failure. But many are actually afraid of what happens if they succeed. Because success brings visibility, responsibility, higher expectations, identity shifts. And I remember when I first stepped into real leadership, leading teams, making decisions, being responsible for results. And part of me was excited. And part of me thought, who am I to do this? Success challenges our identity. Gay Hendricks calls this the upper limit problem. When things start going well, we unconsciously sabotage progress to stay within our comfort zone. Because the brain prefers familiarity over expansion, even when expansion is good. And self-sabotage disguises itself as busyness. Self-sabotage rarely looks like quitting. It looks like busyness. And busyness is socially rewarded. There was a time I told myself I was overwhelmed. But the truth was I was reorganizing systems, tweaking content, and over-planning. Instead of doing the one thing that would grow my business, putting myself out there. And this is what I see in coaching conversations all the time. Perfecting branding instead of making offers, reorganizing systems instead of building relationships, taking another course instead of implementing, and answering emails all day instead of leading. You feel productive, but you're avoiding exposure, avoiding judgment, avoiding rejection, avoiding being seen. And busyness becomes a shield. So why does success feel unsafe, or why can it feel that way? Well, success can feel threatening on a subconscious level because success sometimes may mean outgrowing relationships, stepping into visibility, earning more than maybe your family did, even being publicly judged. And I remember realizing that growth sometimes changes dynamics. Not everyone understands your evolution. Growth can feel lonely before it feels empowering. And humans are wired for belonging. So staying small can feel safer than growing beyond what feels familiar. But safety and fulfillment are not the same. Now, as our identity expands, success isn't just business expansion. It's identity expansion. And so my business didn't grow until my identity did. So I had to make those shifts from doing everything myself, so leading, from that shift from people pleasing to making clear decisions, and avoiding sales to embracing service and impact. So if you still identify as I'm not ready, I'm not confident, I'm not a leader, growth will feel uncomfortable because growth requires becoming someone new. That discomfort isn't a stop sign, it's expansion. So how this shows up in business owners, self-sabotage disguised as busyness often looks like overworking on low impact tasks, sometimes staying busy to avoid exposure, and perfectionism before launching. I delayed launching things because I thought they needed to be perfect, where in reality, perfection was protection. So constant learning without implementing, learning felt productive, and action felt vulnerable. Saying yes to everything, a full calendar can hide a lack of priorities. Waiting until you feel ready. I can't tell you how many times I waited for confidence, only to realize confidence comes after action. So the leadership shift is leadership requires doing uncomfortable things before confidence arrives. I remember leading meetings before I felt ready, setting boundaries before it felt natural, charging premium prices before it felt comfortable. And I didn't feel confident, but I let it anyways. And confidence followed courage. Leadership is practiced, not bestowed. So, why playing small blocks fulfillment is avoiding growth doesn't create peace. It creates quiet dissatisfaction. And there was a time I knew I was capable of more, but staying comfortable felt easier. Comfort felt safe, but it didn't feel fulfilling. Fulfillment comes from aligned growth, not comfort. So recognizing that pattern is awareness is the turning point. I remember realizing I wasn't stuck because I didn't know what to do. I was stuck because I was avoiding the uncomfortable actions that create growth. So ask yourself, am I busy or productive? Am I avoiding visibility? Am I hiding behind preparation? Awareness creates that freedom. So moving through fear of success here's what I found helps. Name that fear. Focus on service over self. Take imperfect action. Build tolerance for discomfort. Celebrate expansion. Courage didn't remove fear. It helped me move through it. Momentum and breakthrough, when we stop hiding behind busyness, momentum begins. Clarity increases, confidence grows. The real opportunities appear. Momentum didn't come from doing more. It came from doing what mattered most. And that is leadership. This is fulfillment. This is growth. So I created the LFG Business Academy because I know how lonely growth can feel. And I know what it's like to figure things out alone. I know how powerful it is to grow alongside others who are building with purpose. So inside, you'll find tools to grow your business with clarity, a supportive community, and frameworks that you can implement immediately. You can find that link in the show notes and you can come join us there for free. So you are not stuck because you lack ability. You may be stuck because success requires expansion and expansion requires courage. The life you want exists on the other side of the version of you that you are becoming. So thank you for being here. Remember that your dream life isn't built by staying comfortable. It's built by growing into the leader you were meant to be. Because your dream life starts with the way you lead, the way you live, and the way you grow. I'll see you next time on your Dream Coach podcast.